Ali here, and welcome to the final video of discovering Oddworld Soulstorm out of bound. And the last part we're gonna check is Soulstorm Brewery itself. And this one is going to be repetitive, so and you're gonna wait and see of what I mean with that. Without further ado, let's get started. The first thing I want to check is how this action scene looks like when you take the camera at a different angle. And doing this, we can see some of the sleeks, especially this flying sleek right here that was trying to chase the train and is just stuck here in the air for some reason. But that's not all. Right when Abe is jumping on this platform, we see two sleek out of nowhere, and if we take the camera out, we can see that they just spawn out of nowhere. But aside from that, let's go with the typical stuff that we always do at the beginning. But before we do this, notice that there's one of these sleek who tried to attack the train, still standing there, acting like a normal sleek NPC and not really doing anything. This one here seems to be stuck in his position. Taking the camera on the other side, we see more platforms, and some of them is just floating in the air without attached to anything. But enough about that. Let's check how long the railway line is going. And it went all the way here to this giant wall until I clipped myself through the wall and noticed how it goes a bit further. Then ends here. When I looked back, I seemed to have gotten a sort of interesting view of the brewery itself. It's like in a way of as a silhouette. After that, I wanted to check on the whole background itself, and we can see that there's a lot of duplication of these silos. And taking the camera further, we can see that these silos here have some parts missing, and same with the texture as well. Likely because you won't be able to see this by yourself. Not only that, I also discovered there's these yellow pipes that we saw in Fat Station as well. And I also got to get a very good glimpse of how all of the hull gaze is literally tied into one single part of the level itself. Then I wanted to see what's at the end of the last door, and I went to see the end of the railway line, and it ended at this wall right here. But as I clipped through, I noticed that the railway is going even further as expected. But that's not the only thing that is to this level. Because as we enter the first door to the first area with those Modakin going through the tier extractor, taking the camera out, I managed to get a really good look of the entire area, as we can also see the other area tied next to the first area. Here I managed to get a really good scene of seeing both sides of the area as one whole level. After that, I wanted to see where this area exactly takes place during the whole level. As I was trying to do this, I can't really seem to find the first part that I was through. I even went through all angles, like up, down, left, and right, but to no luck, I can't seem to see anything. So it was a bit of a mystery for me to figure out where this area exactly is taking place. Here's a better look at the Mudokons getting their tears extracted. We can also see their own tears, a very good close-up, and their tears seem to have some kind of a greasy texture on it somehow. But when we look at the next area, we don't see any Mudokons on the tear extractor. Likely because you still haven't gone through the first area and saved those Mudokons from the extractor. So likely they haven't been spawned yet. Not only that, I also noticed that this Mudokon worker is not doing anything. Which is strange. When you take the camera down here, we see those Mudokons working as usual. So I don't really understand why this one up there is not doing anything. But aside from that, there's nothing really interesting to see here. Because the next door that you enter, which is basically the same gimmick, it's all the exact same. And same goes for the third door, which is the same thing again. And that was literally it for the brewery, which really goes to show how repetitive that level is. Now we're on to the final level, the Eye of the Storm. The first thing I saw when taking the camera out, I saw this shiny sparkle sprite, which I don't know why it's here. I also noticed that the trains seem to have gotten stuck here. When I tried to squeeze the camera through the railway line, I noticed that the train is not attached to any railway line this time, and it's just floating in the air. When I took the camera behind, I noticed this silo seems to be a lot bigger than I expected, and also these pipelines as well. But aside from that, I managed to get a very good look at the entire machine itself. And also the entire level itself. And as we can see, we are basically just going through a huge circle around the whole machine, which is crazy to think about, because when we played our cell, we don't really feel or think about that we're actually going in a circle. And here is the eye itself that shoots laser at us. Then I wanted to see what's on the inside of the machine, and there is nothing. Yeah, nothing. I also went to check on the bottom, and there is also nothing. But the very last thing I want to see is the final area. And the first thing I want to do to quickly check is to investigate the area around to see if there is something interesting. Then the obvious thing I want to do is taking the camera further back and see where exactly this area is taking place. It is kind of difficult to see the environment because of the whole red skybox, but I managed to find out that it is taking place at the bottom of the machine. But when I tried to get up, I couldn't really because of the red thick fog, so it was impossible. The last thing I want to check out is to see how those two slick mamas would spawn. I was not fast enough to see it, but this is how it looks like from out of bound. And that's literally it. Yeah, there was really a lot interesting stuff to see with Soulstorm Brewery, since you're basically seeing the whole level in one circle, and the same thing with the brewery itself. It was just the same thing over and over again. So that's the end of this video, and also for the whole series of discovering Oddworld Soulstorm out of bound. Thank you all so much for being a part of this journey since the very beginning. And I'll see you all next time. Bye bye. Or is it the end?